to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. It's sad for two reasons. It's sad, first of all, because it is the final away game of the season. It is the final away game of the season, but Celtic also released a statement this afternoon. Everyone at Celtic Football Club is extremely saddened at the death of former chairman Jack McGinn, who passed away at the age of 92. It's a fair innings to the old boy. Jack first joined Celtic in 1965, having previously been a newspaper executive, in order to help the club establish its own newspaper, an idea he brought forward to the board. That was the Celtic View, which was first published on the 11th of August 1965 and remains the oldest club publication in football all these years later. Jack was the first editor of the Celtic View, a position he would hold for a number of years. He always remained a strong supporter and an avid reader of the publication. Appointed as club commercial manager in 1981, he was given a seat on the board, becoming vice chairman in 1985, and then chairman a year later. Jack would remain at Celtic for 5 years, and his tenure would include the unforgettable centenary season, when Celtic, managed by Billy McNeill, who returned to the club at the start of the campaign, won a league and cup double. Back in the day when cup doubles were hard, never mind just winning the league, and you could forget about trebles. Jack also occupied a number of roles within the SFA, becoming the SFA chairman in 1997, a position he held for almost 6 years. He always remained dedicated to Celtic and was a regular at Celtic Park over the past few years. Celtic chairman Peter Lawwell said, "I would like to offer my sincere condolences to Jack's family following the sad passing. I first met Jack 35 years ago." Yep, Peter Lawwell's been at Celtic that long. He was fine, he was humble, unassuming man, a true Celtic man, and he always did his very best for the club that he loved. He gave his full energy and commitment to Celtic across a number of roles, often in difficult times for the club, but working to his best interest of Celtic. I know he'll be sadly missed by family and friends and so many people at the club. We send our heartfelt thoughts and prayers. Celtic players will wear black armbands tonight in the Premiership game against Aberdeen at Tawdry as a mark of respect. Thoughts and prayers of everyone at Celtic Football Club are with Jack's family at this extremely sad time. And we have to remember that it's John McGinn's granddad as well. John McGinn, a player that ironically Brendan Rodgers wanted to sign for Celtic, and to get not only a good Scottish player, but to continue the McGinn legacy, at Celtic. But it hasn't happened, and all I could say is he was in control of the club through a turbulent time, and let's not forget about the time when they tried to move us to Cumberslang, etc., and everything that went along with that time of being a Celtic fan. Never talked ill of the dead, with respect to the fact that he spent such a long time at Celtic, but he never had the best interests at all times. That's all I will say. But anyway, we move on. Boy from Benny Offer, where are you watching the game? You're going to be in the Costas. I'm not too sure. I was in at Paddy's Point at the weekend. I don't know whether to go to Paddy's or go to Hoops Bar. It'll be either or. It'll probably end up being the Hoops Bar because it's easier to get home for the Hoops Bar, mate. So I'll catch up with you at the Hoops Bar. We move on from that. We move on. Scott Brown, we're going to talk about Scott Brown. We've got 10 minutes or so for the teams come out. Scott Brown has addressed his club have addressed the future of Scott Brown after he said in public, he said that he would have a long hard think about what he was going to do after his club went down 2-1 on aggregate, missing out on the promotion to the Scottish Premiership. Is it a bad thing that Scott missed out to the getting into the Premiership, or is it a good thing for his managerial career? The former Celtic captain was thinking about bringing a premature end to his 18-month tenure at his club, but his owner said that, look, Brown and his assistant are committed to the club. They are not going anywhere. They signed a contract until 2027, just in September. They've already had talks about what the next season will look like at the club. We started those talks many weeks ago. Him and Stephen are completely committed. We had dialogue whether what we would do with the club, whether it was in the Premiership or the Championship. Now we know it's the Championship. We get down to the hard work again. Scott has been working really hard. We're excited. We have a really good relationship. We have dialogue with the players. We're in dialogue with players who are out of contract, and hopefully a couple of imminent signings will cheer Scott's grumpy puss up, basically. Scott Brown staying at his club. There's news coming out of Leeds again. Leeds United seem to be hitting the media for all the right and wrong reasons, depending on how you look at it. But Brendan Rodgers makes a transfer admission as Leeds United are looking to swoop for two of his best players. Leeds United are looking at Nico Kuhn and Dyson Maida. Celtic are saying that they want 25 million for Dyson, but it's all about whether people will pay this 25 million for a 27-year-old player. When it comes to Nico Kuhn, they are looking at him as well as Newcastle United. So, Jesus, it's starting. The transfer chat of Celtic players has begun in earnest. Typical right before the end of the season, and it's one of those things. It's going to be a turbulent summer, I think, and I wonder what changes Brendan Rodgers will make tonight. Michael Ange Balushka, remember him? He's been mentioned with going to Celtic again this summer. He's looking to exit from Royal Antwerp this summer. The winger, who's been in the form of his life, has re-engaged the chat about leaving his club for Celtic, who have been after the 6 million rated man before. Could be an interesting one. Could he be one of the ones that Brendan Rodgers... He says that he's been responding to Celtic fans on social media. Gotta love the Celtic fans, eh? Gotta love them. They give you dogs abuse on social media, and then they give you love. Come to Celtic. Anyway, we'll move on from that because we've got a big game tonight. Is it a big game? Or is it just a game where Brendan Rodgers will be trying out as many players as he can? The Huns in despair on Super Scoreboard. We've got to love it. Who cares about them? Liverpool in for Frimpong. We'll get a cut of that cash if it's true. That story's been going around for ages, Paul. I've spoken about it on this channel a couple of times, about the fact that he's in for a big move down there, and it looks like it's going to go ahead. If you allow Kuhn and Maida to go in the same window without having backup wingers ready for pre-season, we're in for one big hurricane, said Lanky. I've been saying it. Don't say that I warned you. I've just had a funny feeling for months now that there will be at least two big players leave Celtic this summer. A minimum of 2 big players. It could be 3. With Rio Hatate, you could have 3 first team stars leaving Celtic this summer, which is it's going to be interesting. Got a funny feeling Aberdeen will be a kicking match from Aberdeen, isn't it? With some brutal tackling. We'll wait and see how it kicks off. Lanky did come up with a team right at the beginning of the show. He said Sinisalo, Alistair Johnson, Big Rocky, Scales, Taylor, Callum McGregor, Aaron Engels, Paolo, Yang, Ida, Forrest. That's the team that he thinks will start tonight. If I could even say it, it would be even half the battle, wouldn't it? Has Celtic put anything out at Aberdeen as yet? They have! There we go, 3 minutes ago. North East bound, let's go Celts. Clear skies. Is that fucking parachutes? Is it seagulls? No, it's seagulls, isn't it? Just an unfortunate fucking timing. Oh, there's seagulls on the pitch too. Clear blue skies at Aberdeen tonight. You'll get a little bit of light before the thing gets dark. And can we put the Northern Lights out for good? Can we devastate this this Aberdeen team? I need to put my teeth back in it. They came out. They don't come out. They're stuck in. They're permanent. Do you know what I mean? They're no false. So it's Huck two, motherfucker. What happened to her? She disappeared with the millions, didn't she? Anyway, we digress. Oh, Jesus. Celtic will get 50 million for Hatate, Kuhn and Dyson. 50 million could get you 5 players at 10 million. But will we buy them before we have the Champions League qualifier? This is the big question. I think if there's any bids coming in for the likes of Dyson, Maida and Nico Kuhn, it will be late on in the window, and I think that'll be too late for the Champions League. Scott Brown will be even more determined to win promotion next season, says Graham. Yes, he will, and I think that they'll win the Championship next season. Be interested to see the teams. They'll be up in about 4 minutes. Just woke up, having a nap. Hope you're all good, says Jim. We are that. We're all good. Anyway, wait a minute. So, as we get to the end of the season, it is one of those points where we think about what we're going to do this summer, as always. I'll probably ramp it up again the way that I did most summers. For some unknown reason, I tend to go to 3 videos a day during the summer, which is a bit bizarre because it's when it's quieter. But I'm sure with all the transfer speculation that we're going to have this season, this summer, there'll be lots of stuff to chat about. Lots of stuff to chat about this summer. You need a pint, Baz. Teams aren't out yet. Bus leaving Paradise, all aboard. Transfer shuttle. Yeah, there's that. Let me just say, I've got that image. That's there. So we get the teams. Teams will be out in roughly about 3 minutes' time. Having KT incoming, who is the Champions League class player to start with. I think we're going to have to. I don't think there's any use in actually speculating on what's going to happen this summer, because I think that unless Celtic make the moves first, it's going to be. There'll be a quiet period, as always. After the cup final. How many do you think will be rested tonight? 3 or 4 minimum. I think it'll be. I think that Brendan Rodgers is just going to throw a cat among the pigeons and go, just go and do your best, lads. Do your best and show me what you can do. I think it's going to be one of those evenings. I think we could be shocked. Only one big game left this season is the cup final, to be honest, said Paul Baird. They're all big games. You want to make sure that, like Brendan says, you want to finish the season on a high. And I might actually do a watch along the second half if you can get the telly set up. I might do a watch along the second half if you're up for that. But I'll wait and see. The team's not out yet, no. The team will be out in about a minute. It's looking good up in Aberdeen with that stupid reduced allocation. And the new Celtic top seems to be selling. What do you think of the new Celtic top? Get your new Hoops top now. Will I buy it this weekend? I probably will. But then if I buy it, and then I'm going to hate to walk about with it afterwards. Is it on sale at the airport yet? I wish Brendan Rodgers would rest Greg Taylor permanently. And we'll just refresh this. See if we can get anything through from Celtic. Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Norobski, Schlup, McGregor, McCowan, Bernardo, Forrest, Yang and Johnny Kenny starts. Whoa! Brendan Rodgers has thrown a cat amongst the pigeons. He has started Johnny Kenny. Wow, wait till I get this team just do this. And Taylor's on the bench, Michael's on the bench, Scales on the bench, Adam Ida is on the bench, Hatat is on the bench, McCardle's on the bench. Let me just get this up onto the screen. Woof, massive changes coming out of Celtic Park tonight. Where the fuck is it? No. Okay, take that down there. And just by magic, there we go. There's the team. Sinisalo, Ralston, Trusty, Norobski, Noroki, Schlup, McGregor, McCowan, Bernardo, Forrest, Yang and Johnny Kenny starts the game. On the bench is Casper Schmeichel, Alistair Johnston, Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Adam Ida, Nico Kuhn, Arnie Engel, Rio Hatate, and young McArdle. Woofed. What has Brendan Rodgers done? What a change. That's it. That is it. Yeah, so I want to see Kenny get his first goal. Well, here we go. Jota Kenny starts for what? I've ordered 2 tops bad, says Paul. I don't know what I'll be walking about the tops. I could put it on, I suppose. Put it on and then walk about the tune afterwards. Wait and see. I'll wait and see. I'm undecided. If it's for sale at the airport, I'll buy it at the airport on the way back out. But anyway, young Will Forrest score his goal up in Aberdeen tonight. Big changes in the midfield. Luke McCown starts. Paulo Bernardo starts in the midfield. Obviously, Callum McGregor in the holding midfield role will allow McCown and Bernardo. Or will Bernardo sit in the holding midfield role, allowing Callum McGregor to go further forward, and then what that does is allows him to go over at the same side as James Forrest maybe, and just help James Forrest try and get that goal, that elusive goal. Yang starts again after his little funny elbow. I hope his missus has been over to give him some rubbing on his elbow to make sure that he's firing all cylinders tonight. Lyrically just waxed, just utter nonsense there. And Johnny Kenny starting the game tonight also. Well, he get his first goal for Celtic. It's a much changed team from Brendan Rodgers. A much changed team. People said, how many changes do you think he'll make? Well, there you go. You have it. You've got all the changes that you want. Let me just shut this screen down. Put the chat back over here. Just 2 from the starting lineup at the weekend. Oofed. But I'm here for it. I think we might have to do a watch along the second half. Definitely do a watch along the second half. I need to tell that up. Good to see Paolo getting a start. We badly need some creativity, and he offers us that. Carmack will play his usual position, says Graham Martin. It'd be great if Johnny Kenny gets 2 or 3 tonight, says Paul Bears. Can Johnny Kenny give Adam Ida a run for his money? Can Johnny Kenny? You could actually see, and you never thought you would say this, but could you imagine going to play 2 up front next year, and it's 2 Irish strikers that we've got? What a turnaround for the club that would be. That would be absolutely fantastic. What's the sad news, Ryan? The sad news is, read this a lot on the bottom of there. Read that. That was the sad news. We covered it at the beginning of the video, the fact that Jack McGinn has passed away, the former Celtic chairman. It's not the time for changes. It's not before time. I can't even read tonight. Before time the changes. Yeah, it's true. Is it too late in the season? But the league's won, isn't it? It is an interesting lineup. which then gets us to the score. What do you think the scores? Aberdeen players to watch out for, in my opinion, McGrath against 12 hours, Jensen and Nesbitt. Bernardo and Forrest to score. About time Kenny gets a start, 3-1 the champions. What do you think the score will be? I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. I think it's going to be the Sheep. I think it might be close. I'm going to go 2-1 Celtic. Paul Bear's going for 3-0. Excited to see Kenny get 60 minutes today or so. I hope he gets longer than that. And I do hope he gets longer than that. It'll be interesting. Lanky's going for 4-2 Celtic. Wilson QW is going for 3-1 3-1 Aberdeen. Right? Celtic will get beat 3-1. Squish is going 3-2 Celtic. Big Des is going 3-0 the Hoops. James Gunn's going for 2-1 Celtic. Can we even think about who's going to be the standout in the game tonight? I mean, it's putting a lot of pressure on McCowan in midfield to show that he can perform, as well as Bernardo. Looking forward to next year. I mean, this is also, it's not just giving the players on the bench a rest. It's letting these players tonight. Jeffrey Sloop, Luke McCowan, Bernardo, Forrest, even Johnny Kenny. If Johnny Kenny goes out and scores 2 or 3 goals tonight in open play, really early on, it gives the manager something to think about. It gives him something to think about, not only for the game at the weekend, but heading to the cup final. Do you know, if you've got, you know that you can get Adam Ida to score a goal. But if Johnny Kenny comes on tonight and scores a couple of goals, and everybody goes, do you know what? He's actually a bit of a player. He's a bit of a player, this young lad. It gives Brendan and the rest of the backroom staff something to think about. Standout Kenny, hopefully. Hopefully it is, Paul. Wonder if Aberdeen will make as many changes too. Everyone keeping their cards up their sleeve for the final to avoid players getting kicked off the park. No. Aberdeen need to go for it tonight. Aberdeen have got a chance to finish third. If they lose tonight and another game, there's every chance that they could finish 5th in the league. James Forrest to have one of those games where he plays outstanding. I think James is always good when he's up in Aberdeen. There's something about Aberdeen. 1-8-2, the new formation next season. Paul's giving us some of the Aberdeen players that are starting. Big Ropery score from the corner, thanks in advance. Do you think so? Do you think that Big Mark can score for a corner? Morris is the fastest wide player, starting 2. Celtic depend on when Shinnie gets his yellow card. 3-1 Celtic depends on when Shinnie gets his yellow card. Fabrizio saying that Matt O'Reilly might want away from his club. Nah, I can't see it. You got to remember, Matt O'Reilly, when his first season at Celtic, didn't get a load of game time. So I don't buy into this crap, because you've got to remember that Matt O'Reilly was... Who cares about Matt O'Reilly? He's not coming back to Celtic. And he's definitely... I don't care what he does, to be honest, because he left Celtic for big money. Would Brendan Rodgers plan and play a 4-4-2 for the cup final? That's interesting, Paul. But then who do you have if he does that, right? He doesn't have a striker on the bench. Because say you're going to go with Adam Ida and Johnny Kenny up front. And if he does that, he doesn't have a striker on the bench at all. There's no. Do you know if Dyson Maida's playing on the wing? I don't think he would. He would have to then play Dyson Maida through the middle. And I don't think that we've got the players for the backup at the moment. I don't think we've got the players to allow us to play through the middle. So, I think he'll keep the same formation. I think he will keep the same formation. Clarkson's deadly at free kicks. 3 at the back next year. Flood the midfield, 1 striker. That's not going to happen, James. It'll be 4 at the back next season. Brendan Rodgers is bringing Kieran Tierney back to the club. Kieran Tierney plays in a back 4. He doesn't really play in a back 3. Kieran Tierney likes to get up the wing as well, so he's more like Alistair Johnston. So you're going to have a change of formation. If anything, it's going to be in the middle of the park. But I can't see a change of formation next season. It'll be 4-3-3. But just not having Kieran Tierney come inside. There'll be more overlapping. Lanky says he thinks that this formation is a 3-5-2. Brilliant option. We've got plenty of players that can cover it. The formation tonight for these players. No. Because you've got Ralston, Trusty, Rocky, Sloop all at the back. It's the same. It's the same. It's just his normal 4-3-3 tonight. It's the same formation. There's no formation change tonight. Not a chance. Brendan, he's brought these players in because they know the system. They know the exact way that we've been playing all season. He's not going to come in with 2 games to go to the final and make a change to the formation. It's not Brendan's style. He tried the formation change during the summer trip to America in 1 game. And we all got excited thinking he was going to play 2 through the middle. But I think he was just testing the things in case they needed to change it in the Champions League during the season. Tonight, it's a 4-3-3. It's a 4-3-3 all the way, with Jeffrey Sloop maybe coming inside, but he doesn't come inside as good as obviously Greg Taylor. Is there a chance to win a start in the final? Yes, I think that if any player does well tonight, they've put their hats in their shuts in the bag, as you like. What he's basically done is everyone that is there on the team tonight and the bench, that's your squad for the cup final. That's ultimately your squad for the cup final, and it'll be a case of, who dares wins, who takes their chances tonight. Johnny Kenny, if Johnny Kenny scores a hat-trick tonight, he's got to put his hat in the bag and say, look, there's a hat-trick for you, boss. Can Adam Ida then up his game, the final game of the season, just to go, look, young lad. He's not that much younger though, is he? He's about the same age. But for the sheep, who cares about them? If we decide to change next season, Alistair Johnson and KT can play at the back. It takes away all the goods. You're then thinking that does Kieran Tierney have the legs in him that he does the way before? And I think maybe in a few years' time, as Kieran Tierney starts to slow down, maybe Brendan Rodgers is thinking, we could go 3 at the back then. People ask what the sad news is. Just read what's coming along the screen. It's on the screen. It is on the screen. And we spoke about it right at the beginning of the video, if you missed the video at the start. And other players in the defence, we need to talk about the defence. Trusty and Big Mark played together, and that'll be interesting to see how they go, because obviously Mark was brought in for Carl Starfelt, a long time ago that was, wasn't it? Mark was brought in for Carl Starfelt, and he was to get a game ahead of Liam Scales, but Liam Scales has kept that position to his own. Scales has been benched for tonight, allowing Norobsky and Austin Trusty to get some game time. And when you look at the bench, all you've got on the bench is Scales. So both the players that are playing in the middle of the defence know that there's only one of them going to come off the field of play later on. And it could be because they've only got Scales to put in. Alistair Johnston, will he get some game time? I reckon he will get a little run out. He'll get a run out later on. Tony Ralston will get around about 60 odd minutes. as always, and then he'll bring on Alistair Johnson. That'll be the first one to come on, I think. Give him some game time. Depends what's happening in the middle of the park. If the middle of the park is getting overrun, you'll get Hatate and Engels brought on for Bernardo and McGinn, and hopefully Bernardo manages to see out the full game. But maybe Brendan Rodgers has told them, look, we'll give you 60 minutes tonight, and then you'll get 30 minutes or so in the final league game of the season. And maybe he is just going to change it around, keeping the players fresh between now and the final. And that's what you want. You want every single player, as you go into next week, to the final week, well, the season's done and dusted after Saturday, but going into that, they'll get some time off on Sunday and Monday. They'll get some time off, and then they'll come back into training on Tuesday, and it'll be a case of, right, let's focus on winning this game at Hampden. You know, everyone's had a little bit of game time over the last week, keeping their legs fresh. Brendan Rodgers utilising this game and the game against St Mirren to just make sure everyone's ticking over, so when it gets to the Hampden game, everyone's absolutely rip-roaring to go. And if players can shine tonight, I tell you one thing, they'll give the manager a bit of a headache, which is good. McCown's honeymoon period over. I think Luke McCown has admitted himself. He said that he's had more game time this season than they thought he was going to have. He knew that he was coming in to make up the numbers at Celtic. He didn't think he would get into the team as quick as what he has this season. So I think if you asked Luke himself, which he has done a few weeks ago, he said that he's happy with the way that his first seasons went at Celtic. You've got to remember, Luke McCown came in at the very last minute of the transfer window in the summer. And it was about 11:45 at night that he signed the deal at Celtic. He had left Glasgow. Remember, he had left Glasgow and he was heading back to Dundee when his agent phoned him and said, mate, turn around at Hart Hill. The deal's on. Do you know what I mean? He's like, turn around. Get to Hart Hill yet? Not Livingston. Turn around and come back. The deal's on. Typhoon about flustery. I've got... Tam. That's you, isn't it? Baz, question for you. Bernardo better player than Engels? I would actually say yes. If you take away Arne Engels' goals, right, and if you put the comparison to what Arne Engels played this season to what Paulo Bernardo played this season, and if you compare the stats, you've got to remember that Paulo was out for a lot of time this season. I would say that Paulo's the better player, and Paulo probably thought that he was going to get more game time, and I think that Arne Engels has been lucky, because if Paulo Bernardo hadn't been as injured as long this season, I think it would have given the manager something to think about. But I think he's the one that made the change. Think back to the cup final. Last season, Scottish Cup final. Paulo Bernardo is the one that made the difference in the second half. He came on early second half and he changed the dynamics of the team. Arne Engels hasn't really done that in midfield. You know, he doesn't change the game the way that Paulo can. It's still really early in both their Celtic careers. They are two players that will be at Celtic next summer, no matter what, and it'll be interesting to see those two play together. And I think that's the reason that they were brought in. Brendan Rodgers brought both the players to Celtic because that's the potential future of the club. You know, there's two players that they want to try and keep at the club for another 2 or 3 years at least, and have them playing together in that midfield. So we'll wait and see. Lanky says Paulo, creativity, Arne, strength, different types of players. I think Paulo has been brought in to take over from Rio Hatate, and that's it. Square Sausage Mick, for fuck's sake, take his goals away. That's absurd. I'm talking about the way that they play. Do you know what I mean? It's penalties. If Paulo Bernardo was scoring the penalties, and then, do you know what I mean? You've got to take the penalties away, is what I'll say, and then just add in goals from open play, and that gets the stats a little bit closer. Anybody can score penalties, really, but if you look at the stats, take the penalties away from it. Is that better for you? I feel like Engels is a nervous player at times. He's only 21. Give him a break, man. Fuck's sake, a 21-year-old, I was getting mad with it. I was getting pure mad with it on Eckies. It's like going out on a Thursday and coming back on Tuesday, going to work on Tuesday and stuff. You know, he's 21-year-old. He's way ahead of what I was mentality-wise at 21-year-old. So, I'm not going to give Arne Engels any kind of stick at all, because I think that we've still to see the best of Paulo Bernardo. You've got to remember, Paulo Bernardo is the Portuguese under-21 captain. You can't be a bad player if you're going to be under-21 captain of Portugal. Considering that Jota can't get into the first team in Portugal, you know, you've got to look at the standards of the Portuguese team, and they obviously expect big things of Paulo Bernardo. The fact that he's captain in the under-21 side. The good old the Doves in the 90s were great. They were that. Until they got brown speckles in them, and then that changed the game completely. And football was a fabulous time then. Football was brilliant. You went from everyone wanting to box each other, and you know, it's like these old. Could you imagine if easing and stuff and that hadn't been around? And then they came into fashion when the Green Brigade and that were about. And then the Green Brigade went all lovey-dovey. Instead of the Palestine flags, it was like fucking white dove flags and shit. Anyway, two players have excellent future, Bernardo and Engels. Yes, they do. They do that. Joseph, how are you this evening? Baz, we had 3 kids at 21, the same age. 2 more followed. At 21 I didn't have any kids. Jesus Christ, no bugger that. That was a few years later. Firestarter. Right, let me see what they're saying on the land of Twitterati to the team news tonight, because this will be very interesting. The right thing to do with the final coming next week. Into them lads. Forrest scoring. Kenny, Rocky, Yang, Bernardo, McCowan all starting. Love it. A lot of love. Hopefully goals for Kenny. I thought we wanted to win the game. There's the first negative one. I thought we wanted to win the game, Brendan. Looking forward to it. Yang back with a bang. Or a... You never know. Rocky's back in. Good lineup. Make some noise with the boys. Good to get games time for Rocky. Show what he can do. Hopefully Kenny, and show what he could do. Like he did in Europe with Shamrock Rovers. Kenny and Rocky starting. Jeez. No wonder you lose long talent at the end of the season. Absolutely chucked it. Only one young academy player. Cummins can't get a kick. Has no chance. 1-2-5 for Yang. Daniel Cummins is not going to get a shout at Celtic, because he's not going to be here next season. He made it clear that he wasn't signing a new contract. And the whole Daniel Cummins thing, it's Baz, could you give a shout out to Paul McPherson from the Flying Column? Fantastic tribute to Big John Gilmartin, who sadly passed away this week. Paul McPherson. I know Paul. And Paul knows me from my time on the Rafferty bus and in the section. So yeah, I know Paul. Paul's a good guy. Paul is one of the good guys, and the Flying Column bus is fantastic. Fantastic tribute to Big John Gilmartin, who sadly passed away this week. If Paul's listening, Paul will be up at the game, you know. He goes to all the games. The Mad Cow and Beef bus. I find it. Stephen Johnson We'll find out tomorrow. I'm just not read that one out. Hope it's good news for you, Stephen. Hope it is good news for you tomorrow. Why is Taylor getting game times? Because we've spoken about this since before. Alternate pass. We've spoken about this since before Christmas. The board's fucked up. The board's fucked up. It's as simple as that. They didn't get the left back position sorted. They tried, they fucked up, and they couldn't let Greg Taylor go. They couldn't let him go. It's as simple as that. And he's the only player that's been at Celtic over the recent years who's had the club by the balls, and not the fact that he's wanted to have them by the balls. It's the club's own fuck up. Let's face it. The club mucked up big style, but not getting the left back area sorted out. I mean, we brought in a young guy on loan, and then we brought in another guy on loan. It wasn't permanent fixtures. It wasn't permanent fixtures. So yeah, Greg Taylor, he's been a great servant to the club, but he'll get his game in the final. He'll get some game time next weekend. This weekend coming, and that'll be that. Probably saw Baza back in the day at Resurrection and didn't even know it. Yeah, you probably did, Mikey. You probably did. If you went to the event too, we were on stage for that. We've done the Awakening in 95. We brought in the bells. We brought in the bells for Awakening 95. And I can't remember how many. We played at Res that many times. And then I did the Resurrection gig when it came back. When it came back after 20 odd years. No, I didn't have huge ginger afro in the 90s. Jesus God, what's wrong with yous? Hibbies are unimpressed that we're playing a weekend team. Hibbies are really unimpressed that we're playing a weekend. So some of the Celtic fans, Jesus, we've just handed Rangers the league tonight, lads. Brendan with his old pals act strikes again. And how's that? Does people really feel that Bazza did a good few back in the mid-1990s? Good to know. Is it really a bad team? Is that really a bad team? I don't think it's a bad team at all. I think it's a team that gives people opportunities. And people shouting about that, youth not getting a chance. If young McArdle comes on in the game tonight, I mean, that's him getting a chance. There's no one else in the youth team that Brendan Rodgers feels is ready for the jump up. And that's the reality of the situation. People going and shouting about Daniel Cummins this late stage of the season obviously have no idea about the contract situation and the fact that he's not going to sign for Celtic. I think he's already signed a pre-contract with West Ham or somebody. So he was never going to get anywhere near the first team. As soon as that happens, it's you're not going to get near it. You still got the green glasses, Baz. Green glasses? No, never had green glasses back then. Great team. Great time to test a few. I don't think it's really testing them, is it? It's more giving them the opportunity to see if they could outshine the players that could potentially start in the final. Because let's face it, you're only one injury away if you're not starting in the final. And that's why Dyson Maeda doesn't start tonight. And it's the real reason that they're not wanting Dyson to get injured in case they can't sell him. Don't shout it. Looks a strong team for me, says Joseph. No point in playing Daniel now. That's why he's never got nowhere near the team. Remember, he got in against... He got a game in the Champions League, Daniel Cummins. He was on the bench, wasn't he? He was on the Champions League bench. I have no problem with tonight's changes in the team, says Paul Baird. No, neither have I. Not at all. I think it's more changes than what I thought he would have made, but you've got all the main players there on the bench in case it goes tits up and we're getting beat 2-0 at half time. Do you know what I mean? So Brendan can then turn around and go, it's not worked out. You fucking missed your big opportunity to get a game for the final. And then if he brings on other players that maybe aren't performing in the first half of this game, and if the unthinkable happens and we are getting beaten, and he goes, right, lads, you're just not doing it. You've given you a fucking great opportunity to try and prove to me that you deserve the place more than Scales, more than Ida, more than Kuhn, more than Engels, more than Hatate, more than Taylor, more than Johnston. But we'll see how the game pans out tonight. I think I will set the TV up to do a watch along. We'll do a watch along in the second half. Let me just see what the headlines are saying. Chris Sutton issues 2-word blunt response to the team news. Let's see what Sutton's saying on the land of Twitter. Chris Sutton's put up Celtic reserves. He's put up Celtic reserves. Here's how the Hoops line up in the penultimate league clash against Aberdeen. And Sutton's put Celtic reserves. If we go out and tank them, I mean, they've got pretty much their first team out, haven't they? And he's just reposted the Dons team. Never saying anything for that. I mean, it is a strong team. And interestingly, the keeper on the bench for Aberdeen could be on the bench for Celtic next season. He could be on the bench for Celtic next season. And I still think that Celtic will have a big shout to make to see if Sinisalo will go out on loan to give him game time. So that he can come back to Celtic as his first team choice. And it'd be interesting to see where they're thinking, where Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff are thinking about putting him, if they do put him out on loan, because they're not going to sign the guy for Aberdeen. They're not going to sign him for Aberdeen to be third choice goalkeeper and not get on the bench every week. So, with the fact that we've got Casper still here for one more year, I think that if we do get the Dons backup keeper, who was a Celtic youth player, if they do get him in the summer, it will mean that Sinisalo, the potential for him going out on loan will just swing the other way about 80%. Does James still need a goal? Yes, he does. Hibs win tonight, they'll finish third. If they hadn't started bad, they could be second in the league. I think Aberdeen are about to be kicking themselves because they should have been second in the league. He's proved he's ready to step up now as number one keeper. Yeah, that's true, Graham. But you're wanting in. You've got to think what Celtic are doing with getting the young guy for Aberdeen, who was ultimately at Celtic. If you get him in this season coming, right? If you get him in this summer, and you have him as number two, then he's still a young keeper. You can then put Sinisalo out on loan to get some good game time. But then you've got to ask, we've got a young guy that's out of Dunfermline on loan in goals, and I don't know how he's been doing. So it's going to be an interesting summer. 3-0, trusted to score first. 4-5-0-1, get on boys, says Gigi. Hail Baz in the chat says shut. No square sausage, no party. CSC, says Kaiser. I didn't even talk about. No idea what you're talking about. Anyway, let me just see this. Confirmed shake-up. Let's see what Celtic are saying about all the massive changes in tonight's game. Who wrote it? Paul. Thank God. Paul writes his stuff very, very... Yeah. Celtic head to Pittodrie to take on Aberdeen in the penultimate fixture of what has been another title-winning campaign. campaign. The match is also the precursor to a Scottish Cup final between the sides at Hampden on the 24th of May. Brendan Rodgers has made a number of changes to the starting 11 for tonight's Premiership clash. Irish striker Johnny Kenny will make his first start for Celtic tonight, while at the other end of the park, Sinisalo returns between the sticks. Meanwhile, Rocky partners Trusty in the centre of defence. That's it. Fucking straight and to the point. That couldn't Basil take the piss. Kick-off is at 8pm tonight. You can follow the build-up and all the action in the club's website, Match Centre. The substitutions are Schmeichel, Johnson, Taylor, Scales, Adamida, Kuhn, Engels, Hutati and Young McArdle. Right, what time is it? It is 20 past. I'm going to hang on for another 10 minutes or so. Anyone know where I can get 2 tickets for the weekend? Not for me. I ain't saying mine for nobody. I'm not saying mine for nobody. Young boy at Dunfermline is doing good. Some of my mates were talking him up. That's good, James. Will he... I mean, he was put out at Dunfermline to give him some first team action. So, you know, they've still got the possibility of him coming back to Celtic and being backup keeper. How many channels out there are crying about the Orange Walk and the title party on the same day? I have no idea. Are they? Who gives a flying fuck? Celtic channels? Are they? Are they fucking even worried about the Orange Walk? It'll be done and dusted. Starts at 10 in the morning. Fuck's sake, they'll be in their bed. They'll be in the fucking pubs fighting each other by 12:30. No, it was in a band. Base X. Working with Casper another season would benefit him more, I think. Would it? Rather than getting that first team action, Graham? I'm not too sure. Tickets for the weekend at Gold Dust. Lucky to get any. Love Res. Went to loads of them. Yep. So did I. Back in the day, the good old days. Right, I'm actually waiting to see. You guys says Tony. So we did start off the video. If you're wondering, if you have just late to the party, as they say, it does say sad news for Celtic. Celtic did announce the passing of Chairman Jack McGinn at the beginning of earlier on tonight, and I did talk about it right at the beginning of the video. The fact that he'd been at Celtic since 1965, and then right up until 1997, I think it was, that he was at Celtic. It was a long time. He spent a lot of time at Celtic, and you've got to remember that he's the granddad of a certain McGinn that was wanted by Brendan Rodgers. He is the granddad of a certain McGinn that Brendan Rodgers wanted. So Celtic did put out a statement saying that they will play in black armbands tonight, and I wonder if they'll hold a minute's silence. at the final league game of the season. They'll obviously have the McGinn family up there in numbers, and they will pay tribute to him. He was the man who introduced the Celtic view to Celtic. He was one that initiated it. He used to work in the media before he came to Celtic. He is the one who introduced the Celtic view, and it's the longest standing, still selling newspaper from a football club, which is unbelievable when you think about it, that it has been on the go since all those years ago. And it's went through different formats, obviously from a sort of paper type format to its current sort of little magazine. So yeah, it'd be a nice touch from the club when they do give a minute's silence. But we have to remember also, he was in charge at Celtic during a very, very difficult time for the club, ultimately at the end of his tenure before Fergus McCann came in. No chance will Sinisalo be sent out on loan next season, says Peter Larkin. Well, Brendan Rodgers said that was going to happen before Kasper Schmeichel got injured. You got to listen. Hardcore Disco was one of the best. The original was the best. Hardcore Disco, the original, and then Hardcore Disco 3. Version 3 was the best. Mix the two of them together on vinyl and you've got a cracking little tune. More records getting broke tonight. I'm just trying to catch up. Danny Cassie says that for the wee Shamrock, he reckons it's going to be 3-1 tonight. It depends on his aspirations as Celtic keeper. Bain will be away this summer. And it wouldn't surprise me if Bain goes to either Neil Lennon at Dunfermline, if he signs at Dunfermline, or he might go to Scott Brown at Ayr. That's one to watch. A bit of rhythmic state. Andy still does gigs, but he does DJing now. Andy for Rhythmic State. I think they wound up the band a few years. They do the reunion stuff at Rosyth. They do the DJs at the reunion stuff at Rosyth, which is good. Good for them. I'm just trying to see if there's any more. I'll just click on this. Oh, nope. One story to keep an eye on is this Leeds connection for Dies and Maida. That's one story to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks. Because I think if they're going to make a move for Dyson, it will be early on in the transfer window. I don't think that they want to piss about. I think they want to get their players in quick. I'm just reading this. It's just a young player that's leaving Celtic. No point, is there? No point. Anyway, right, 50 million for Dyson. That's going to be 25. Breaking news: Real Madrid preparing a €19 million bid for Bain. Yeah. Any more word on Leonard Miller? No, that'll go into the summer. Can I safely say that I'm smashed and ready for the football? Says Willie, man. Oh, Jesus. I think that is a story, not my disdain. I still think that there's a good chance that if Leeds come in for him, for Dyson, I think he'll go to Leeds. If he gets the chance to play in the English Premiership. But as we used the song from Flashdance, changed it to Brainiac. He's a Baniac in the goals. Oh, that's going to be stuck in my head now. But Builder has Eider and Kuhn in it. Jesus. Right, that's me done and dusted. Check out the channel at half time. I might come on at half time or not. Kaiser, are you doing a drink along? Leeds United will not equip Celtic with money. Yeah. You think so, Kaiser? If they think that they can weaken Celtic, by taking Dyson and Nico Kuhn to them, they'll do it. They will do it. Right, I would sing it for him at the weekend before he leaves. Oh, Jesus. You wouldn't begrudge a move. He's worked his socks off. Yep. Enjoy the game, Niall. Enjoy the game, Graham. Maida playing Champions League World Cup next season. We'll keep him at Celtic. I'm not too sure. I'm not Baz. Far too drunk at this point. Kaiser's too drunk. Like, if I can get the telly set up in time, I'll come on at half time and might do a watch along, and then we'll do a reaction video afterwards. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Massive changes. Can we do it tonight? Or will there be massive changes at half time because the guys are getting beat 2-0 and that team just hasn't